Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, is one of Europe's most beautiful and cosmopolitan cities. Set over a series of hills near the mouth of the river Tagus, it's a place inextricably linked with the sea. Intrepid navigators embarked from here in the 15th and 16th centuries to sail unknown waters and chart new lands, and the legacy of this golden age of discovery underpins much of the city's culture and heritage. Explore the narrow streets of the Old Quarter, stroll the riverbank promenade, or wander through verdant parks and gardens. In fact, enjoy Lisbon like the locals do, at an easy and unhurried pace, and you'll quickly fall for its welcoming character and beguiling charm. We've created this video of the best places to visit in Lisbon to entice you to add the charming capital to your travel bucket list. Number 1. São Jorge Castle. One of Lisbon's oldest treasures, São Jorge Castle, or St. George's Castle, is situated at the top of a hill in the Alfama district. The city's most popular attraction evokes the period when Lisbon was under Moorish rule, but the site was fortified centuries earlier when the Romans and Visigoths were in power as well. After driving out the Moors in 1147, the Portuguese used the castle as a royal residence until the early 16th century. Today, the royal quarters are home to a museum featuring archaeological exhibits. Climbing the castle ramparts is a must-do activity in Lisbon, and it's easy to understand why. The views from the parapets and battlements are simply breathtaking. Visitors are happy enough to admire the fabulous views from the observation terrace that affords an uninterrupted panorama of the city, the river Tagus, and the distant Atlantic Ocean. 2. Monastery of St Jerome. Monastery of St Jerome, or the Jeronimos Monastery, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site located in Lisbon's Belm district, exemplifying Portugal's Manueline style, a highly ornate style of architecture named after the king of the time, Manuel I. The monastery was built during the Age of Discoveries to honor the explorer Vasco da Gama, as he and his crew spent their last night in Portugal at the site before embarking on their famous journey to India in 1498. During the 17th century, the structure served as a monastery for monks, whose job was to comfort sailors and pray for the king. It eventually became a school and orphanage until 1940. Today, visitors can explore the grounds at their own pace while admiring the detail present in the intricately carved pillars, cloisters, and vaulted ceilings. Tourists can also stop by the Chapel of St. Jerome and the tombs, which contain notable Portuguese people in history, including a handful of royals and Vasco da Gama himself. 3. Oceanario de Lisboa. One of the top aquariums in Europe, the large, fun, and educational Oceanario de Lisboa is one of the best places in Lisbon to take the kids for a great day out. Located in Parque das Nações, the large oceanarium is arranged into 4 distinct areas, representing the water and land environments of the 4 major oceans of the Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, and the Antarctic. Not only home to a huge selection of aquatic life, but the aquarium also contains numerous fascinating species of birds. There are lots of small tanks as well as the enormous and impressive central tank. In addition to being one of the major attractions in Lisbon, Oceanario de Lisboa is also active in conservation, preservation, and education. Stand transfixed in front of the gigantic central tank and watch in awe as creatures like rays, colorful schools of fish, sunfish, and sharks swim right in front of your eyes. Discover the habitats, creatures, and ecosystems of different oceans, seeing penguins in the Antarctic zone, sea otters in the Pacific area, and more. 4. Belm Tower. Soaring high above the seafront of the Lisbon Keys, this great tower displays a veritable fusion of architectural styles from the Mudejar to the Moorish, the Gothic to the Romanesque. It has stood watch over the mouth of the Tagus River since its construction under the patronage of St. John back in the 16th century. The Tower of Belm is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. They're a little further out of the city center, but well worth the trip to see. It was originally built on an outcropping of rocks, but as the shoreline next to it has changed over time, it is now very close to the riverbank and at low tide. It looks completely connected. Once involved in defending the city against foreign ships, it's now one of the most popular things to see in Lisbon. Make sure you venture down to this part of Lisbon to learn more about the history of the city and the role it played in the Age of Discovery. Plus, you can visit past days to Belm there too. 5. Santa Justa Elevator. Located in the downtown district, the Santa Justa Elevator offers visitors delightful views of lovely Lisbon. Built in 1902, the elevator was designed by Raoul Messner, who was inspired by the famous tower in Paris, which his colleague Gustav Eiffel created. The wrought iron tower lifts passengers to a platform where a walkway leads to the ruins of Carmo Convent, a Gothic church that was partially destroyed during the Great Earthquake of 1755. Alternatively, visitors can climb a staircase to the top of the elevator structure to enjoy vistas of the entire Baxa neighborhood. 6. The Cathedral. The Cathedral of Lisbon holds the title of oldest church in the Portuguese capital, having been built in the second half of the 12th century, right after Lisbon being conquered from the Moors. As years went by, this cathedral was enriched with different architectonic styles with Romanesque, Gothic, and Baroque traits, and it was here that some Portuguese started to be buried. Unfortunately, the major earthquake of 1755 destroyed several original parts of the cathedral, and because of that, a reconstruction was in order. In the beginning of the 20th century, refurbishment works returned some of the medieval beauty to this building. Inside, a resplendent rose window helps illuminate a rather gloomy interior, and you're likely to head straight for the treasury where the cathedral's most valuable artifacts are on display. Items that include silverware made up of chalices and reliquaries, intricately embroidered vestments, statuary, and a number of rare illustrated manuscripts. 7. Cintra. There are lots of great day trips from Lisbon, but Cintra is one of the most well-known and popular. Easily reached by public transport or car, Cintra has plenty to keep you occupied on a day trip. It'll take you 40 minutes on the train, and almost the same to drive to this magical town in the hills. But you'll feel like you've come much further. Throughout the woods in Cintra, there are many mansions and palaces where Lisbon's elite would come to escape the heat in the summer. The crowning glory above them all is Palácio de Pina, built by a German prince who married into the Portuguese royal family. Its extensive gardens and colorful architecture make it a must-visit place in Cintra. The entire city is named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It would be a perfect day trip to just stroll around this mesmerizing town and admire the lush green landscapes along the hill. Cintra can be visited also with many day trips from Lisbon. 8. Praca de Comercio. One of the star attractions of Lisbon's downtown waterfront, the Praca de Comercio is an expansive plaza flanked by elegant 18th century buildings. Portugal's Dom José I made his home here until the earthquake of 1755 reduced it to rubble. Locals still refer to the square as the Terreiro do Paco, or Yard of the Royal Palace. A monument featuring the king on horseback dominates the center of the plaza. A large triumphal arch completed in 1873 anchors the northern side. Hotels, shops, and restaurants located nearby make the sunny square a popular destination for visitors exploring Lisbon's scenic waterfront. A beautiful square bonding the scenic views of the seaside and the grand Rio Augusta Arch. A walk from the plaza to the waterfront would afford one with many interesting sights. If you are ambitious, climbing the Rio Augusta Arch will ensure you a nice bird view over the plaza and the water. 9. Convento do Carmo Church. What remains of the Gothic Convento do Carmo Church is a reminder of the devastation of the 1755 earthquake. It's also a product of 19th century fashion for leaving ruins unrestored. Now open to the sky, the exposed arches and freestanding walls are a romantic archaeological site scattered with statues, tombstones, and pillars. The Carmo Archaeological Museum is located in the old nave of the church. It houses a weird and wacky collection of artifacts donated in the 19th century. Among the treasures, you can find the tomb of King Ferdinand I, an Egyptian mummy, and two very gruesome Peruvian mummies. Slightly less disturbing is the 16th century Azulejo hand-painted tile collection. The convent is used as the backdrop for summer concerts held in the square in front of the ruins, which is also a nice place to hang out and grab a coffee. 10. Aquijuto das Aguas Livres. Another of the great visual landmarks of Lisbon is the Aquijuto das Aguas Livres. This eye-popping stretch of stone arches and Italianesque architecture was first created in the middle of the 18th century. It was conceived to relieve Lisbon's perpetual summertime water shortages and was built to fit in seamlessly with the Gothic revivalism of the city proper. Be sure to check out the section of aqueduct, which rolls directly over the rooftops of the Amoreiras district, and then make a beeline for the Water Museum, which chronicles the development of this masterpiece.